There are renewed hopes for a ceasefire in Syria. U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry and his Russian counterpart Sergei Lavrov will meet next week in Switzerland to launch a new round of peace talks. Other regional powers, including Turkey, Iran and Saudi Arabia, are also expected to take part. The decision to resume talks comes after several weeks of escalation following the breakdown of a truce last month. The Kerry-Lavrov brokered deal began after sundown on September 12th, but by September 16th, there had already been multiple violations and criticism over the regime's refusal to allow aid into Aleppo. The fragile ceasefire was dealt another blow on September 17th when coalition aircraft bombed pro-regime forces in Deir ez-Zor. The U.S. called the strikes unintentional. The incident caused a furious response from Moscow. The Assad regime then announced the collapse of the ceasefire, and later that evening, a humanitarian aid convoy was bombed, allegedly by Russian warplanes, sparking international condemnation. Last week, John Kerry announced that bilateral negotiations between Washington and Moscow over Syria were suspended. TRT World's Colin Campbell is following the story from Washington.
What's expected to come out of these talks are negotiations for the move forward in Syria. Of course, these negotiations, this latest round that's expected to happen this weekend in Switzerland, comes after a series of attacks that have left scores of people dead in Aleppo. Now, this will be the first face-to-face bilateral meeting between the two leaders who are going to be talking about peace negotiations. This is after they broke off contact earlier this month after the U.S. accused Russia of being behind several attacks that left scores of people dead and have restricted humanitarian aid from reaching those who need it most. Again, this is very important because of the fact that there was a brokered ceasefire agreement that the U.S. and Russia had been working on, and all of that went up in smoke. And now this weekend, they're expected to resume those talks and see what the way forward will be in Syria after so many people have been left dead from this series of attacks.